How does it feel to criticize your favorite writer? Hello everyone, welcome to Harry's Book Cafe, where we discuss everything to do with books. Now the question, how does it make you feel to criticize your favorite writer? I guess if you're a football fan like me, it's probably like watching your favorite team being thrashed by its arch rival. At least that's how it made me feel. Now I have many favorite writers. Stephen King, for sure, I love him. Read almost all of his books, especially the more recent ones are phenomenal. I think much better than his older ones, for sure. Kafka, another one, is one of my favorites. He's got that Kafka-esque feel, isn't it? It's the word derived from his name. So this book in particular is one of my favorite. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Yeah, so the artwork is absolutely phenomenal. So as you can see from the cover, you probably worked out that this is Metamorphosis, one of my favorite short stories. Now, the other writers is John Grisham. He's my all-time favorite writer. I read many of his books. The Confession is probably his best work. If you don't know about the story, very quickly, it's about this black man who's been convicted of a murder that has absolutely nothing to do with him, and it's about this lawyer who tried to get him off the death row. And whether or not that it never worked out in the end, you have to read it to find out. The Rainmaker is another absolute fantastic novel, and I highly recommend that too. Now, recently I read this one, The Client by John Grisham. I so desperately want to love this book. Unfortunately, I couldn't. And let me tell you why. Now, a quick spoiler alert, just a little bit more about the story, without giving too much detail. It's centered on this 11-year-old boy named Jack Sway. Now, he one day sneaked out into the wood behind his trailer park to smoke, and he discovered a man in the act of committing suicide. Now, he wanted to save this man, and that benevolent behavior lands him into so many trouble. Basically, the story involves around a body, to be precise, the senator's body, killed by a mobster, by a mafia family. Now, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies in the US is trying to find where this body is, and therefore they can then prosecute the criminals. At the moment he couldn't, because they don't have the body. Now, in the act of saving this man from committing suicide, Jack unintentionally acquired the knowledge of the body, where it is buried, and that lands so many trouble for him. The criticise of the book is really about the inconsistencies of the character. More on that a little bit later. So the first third of the book is fantastic. It really involves around the character building and how Jack behaves, and every page grips you, really grips you and demands to pull you into this drama. And I was one of them. I was definitely pulled in. But that's the first third, and from that moment on, it really starts to go downhill, and that involves, as I said before, Jack's behavior. He's an 11-year-old, and on one page he's acting like a child, a kid. He's terrified, he's scared. But then when you turn a page, maybe in the next chapter, he suddenly changes behavior. He's suddenly grown up somehow to a full-grown adult, and not just any grown-up. He's behaving like an experienced adult who has dealt with crimes before, and that is manifested through his language, his assertiveness, his wisecrack with FBI agents, and that is inconsistent. No 11-year-old behaves like that, however special he or she might be. And then that inconsistency rather, is then translated to his lawyer. He hired a lawyer with $1, and that lawyer is a 50-year-old woman who is fierce and ill-humored, cantankerous, and she's rage because of her past history, and she fights for the kid's justice and fights justice for this kid, Jack. And she's very aggressive. She's, especially the way she approaches the FBI and the law enforcement agency, the languages she uses. Again, a normal lawyer probably will behave more professionally in this sort of situation. Maybe less threatening behavior. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not sure. So even if she's this aggressive woman, very intelligent for sure, then she should be consistent with that behavior throughout the book. Unfortunately, it isn't the case, especially towards the last part of the story, where Jack and her went on to this unbelievable journey. And when I say unbelievable, I meant the literal meaning of the word, meaning not believing. So they went on to this far-fetched journey, adventure, and she changed the behavior almost suddenly from this, aggressive lawyer to someone who relies on the kid, relying on the kid to actually make decisions on her behalf. And I find that inconsistency, excuse the pun, consistent throughout the book, which really makes the make-believe no longer real. Previous books, you get gripped so hard by the characters. You are emotionally involved, you're emotionally invested in these characters, and you want them to succeed. Not so unfortunate with this one. The characters are no longer believable. I mean, he still retained those fluency in his language. That's trademark John Grisham. Very fluent, very succinct, to the point. And this book is the same. It's no different than the others in terms of language, in terms of sentence and paragraph constructions and structures. They are similar. It's just the characters really lets this book down, because you don't believe them. You don't believe in them. And that's where the fatal flaw of this book lies. And I so desperately want to love this book like I love every other John Grisham books, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. And it's a shame. It's such a shame, because I really love John Grisham. How about you? Have you read this book? What are your thoughts? Because I went on to Amazon and I read so many reviews, and overwhelming vast majority of the reviews are positive, 4 or 5 stars. But personally, I don't think it's 4 or 5 stars at all. What are your thoughts? Have you read it? And if so, what do you think? Please leave a comment down below, and let me know your favorite writers too. Yeah, so that's pretty much, this is the first episode of Harry's Book Cafe. So if I'm a little bit nervous, please do excuse me. And please give it like and subscribe. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. I aim to upload one video at least every week to do with everything to do with books reviews, book hauls, TBRs, all sort of juicy stuff I'm aiming to bring to this channel and to this platform, because we all love reading, and that's why we're here. So this is a platform where we can really discuss books, and it's not just me talking to you. I want this to be interactive, so please leave a comments below and let me know what you think.